Hello. Welcome to the stream. Weekly stream is live. Livestream Sunday on a Monday, as we do every Monday. Let me know if you can see and or hear me well. If there's any trouble with the stream, let me know. YouTube live streaming is often finicky. What's up, Dean? What's up, Fensu? Still not sure how to pronounce that. For those that don't know, I stream every Monday. I believe the time that I'm going to do it is the time that is now, which is 2 p.m. Central Time, and whatever time that is in your time zone. But I'm gonna do it now, where if you are wondering when the next stream is, you can go to the live stream page, which is theonejanitor.com/live, and there'll be a little timer on there so you can see when the next live stream is. Some of you may have already seen that. And you can also set a reminder on the page. So if you go to the page and you hit set reminder, pretty sure that it will then send you a notification on YouTube when the stream is about to start. And if you have it set up to where you get like email notifications or push notifications, then that will help you make it to the stream. But I wonder if the notifications are being sent out, because I have like a little test page that is subscribed to the notifications for my YouTube channel, and I have it open, but it hasn't received a notification. So that's kind of whack. Oh wait, yeah, it did. Okay, that's cool. I missed it. Okay. Whenever I stream with this new camera, my computer fan just goes crazy. But it doesn't say that I'm like using a lot of resources or anything, so it's like, I don't know. Guess my computer's working hard. I feel like this white balance is off. Why do I look so yellow? Now it's too bright. It's better. Kinda. And I guess we'll just wait for some people to get here. It's already November. That's pretty crazy. I feel like October went by super fast. What's up, Steven? What's up, Alvaro? What's up, Andre? Have you been gaming lately? I've mostly been playing Tekken 7. I bought Tekken the other day, and I've just been playing that. Not much of anything else. I hope to buy a Nintendo Switch soon, but I don't have it yet. Tekken is pretty hard. At least if you're trying to like be good and play against online players, it's pretty hard. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of research. I've been playing Diablo 3 on the Switch. Yeah, it's funny. Like it appears that they're just gonna release Diablo 3 on every platform possible. Like, I have friends that literally have bought Diablo 3 4 different times. Electric Glow Main, thank you for the 444. T1J, what important issues are on your mind lately? What important issues are on my mind lately? Well, election day is tomorrow, so that's on my mind. I've been trying to encourage everybody to go vote. If you live in the United States, please go vote tomorrow. That's like it's like mainly the most powerful thing that American citizens can do right now in a world where there's so much power centralized in the hands of like just like really shitty politicians. But they haven't stripped us of our right to vote yet. They're trying real hard. But please go vote. In fact, I'm gonna change the fucking title of the stream to go vote. What topics am I going to cover? Well, the way the stream usually goes, I just go with whatever the chat is interested in and what questions are being asked by the chat, and we'll just go from there. It's always very fluid and off the cuff. Yeah, I would love to play Red Dead Redemption as well, but it'll probably be a while before I get it. I don't usually buy games when they're new. Cause they're just kind of expensive. The only time I buy games when they're new is if I'm just like dying to play. Like if I just will not be able to survive without playing it. And that rarely happens these days. It used to happen a lot when I was younger, but the older I get, I don't feel that excited about new video games as I used to. I mean, I still love video games, but I can wait. The last game that I bought new was Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I just love fighting games. And that game just looked really hype, so I bought that. And before that, the last game that I bought new was Zelda Breath of the Wild. So Mario Odyssey is really good. I don't have a Switch yet, but I've played it with friends, and it's super, super good. I mean, I feel like it might be the best Mario game ever. It's definitely not true that your vote doesn't matter. It's like provably false. How long are my dreads? I don't know. They go down, pretty much down my whole back. I've never measured them. They go down like 90% of my back. Thoughts on JRPGs? When I was growing up, I loved to play JRPGs. I don't think I have the attention span for them now, or the patience, because I can't play like super long games. Like I'll try, but I will never finish them. But there's some that I mean, I'll play it. If I have it, I'll play it. But I doubt I'll finish it. I have I was about to start playing Final Fantasy 13 for the first time because I never played it before. But I don't have a working console to play it on. I've never had to do jury duty, no. And I have not seen Glow either. I mean, we've seen in so many different cases how if people actually show up and vote, things happen, things change. It's an uphill battle, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of voter suppression going on, and there's a lot of gerrymandering going on. But if people show up in large enough numbers, things happen. Things change. Persona 4, I've heard, is really good. Final Fantasy 13 is on Steam, although not a very good version. Yeah, I'm always hesitant about PC ports of games, especially PC ports of older games, because it seems like most of the time they're not very good ports. Like, I got really excited when I learned that Chrono Trigger was released on PC, but then I looked up reviews and everybody said that it was just a shitty port. It was basically like the mobile version except on PC or something like that. Have I seen King of the Hill? Yeah, the show. It's a great show. It's like one of the greatest shows ever. I did not vote yet. I'm going to vote tomorrow. You can't vote early in Alabama. This white balance makes it look like my walls are yellow. They're really not yellow. I mean, they're like a cream color kind of. But this camera is making them look yellow. But yeah, if anyone wants to donate towards me getting a Switch, that'd be cool. I hope to get one before or soon after Smash Brothers comes out. That's mainly the reason I want it, just to play Smash Brothers. Let me see if I can fix the white balance. It's on auto white balance, but that's not right. It's too blue. Whatever. I feel like I got something in my teeth. What do you personally think will happen tomorrow? I have no idea, really. I'm waiting to see. This will be like I think it'll be a very illuminating thing as to the state of our country. I want to see the results, obviously, but I also want to see the amount, like the percentage of people who actually participate in the vote. Because we like to think that voter participation is going to be higher than average, but I don't know. So if the voter participation is still low, then I don't know. That's going to be a problem. But I believe that when voters participate, that when the participation is high, then Democrats are more likely to win, which is what we need to happen. Super Chat, thank you for the £5 or 652 apparently. T1J Smash Fun, awesome. Also, what do you think about voting abroad? Should you do it even though you're living somewhere else? Should you do it? I mean, yeah. I mean, do you want good things to happen to where you are from? Sure. Looked like a Marvel movie there when it was blue. Your skin looks super glowy and nice. Ever consider becoming a Beautuber? Is that what it is? I don't know. Does my skin look nice? I feel like it looks oily. I do watch like some like men's fashion channels sometimes. Looking at like tips for just fashion and cleanliness and stuff. I bought like a facial cleanser recently because I've been trying to improve. I'm trying to step up my hygiene game. Like before, I like basically never washed my face before. I would just sort of like rinse it off in the morning. But I actually bought a facial cleanser and it makes my face feel all nice. I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess it's actually cleaning it because you can kind of see dirt coming off of it, but it also feels really nice. Big upshoot in young voters by the looks of it. I hope so. But I'm also interested in seeing the results, because the theory that I'm working on is that there are more non-conservatives in America than conservatives. There are more people who oppose conservative policy than people who support conservative policy. And we can see this just by representation, because even though Republicans control the Congress, like both houses of the Congress, they represent a smaller number of people. Like in terms of just numbers of people, they represent a smaller number of people, and that, that's mainly because of gerrymandering. And also mainly gerrymandering. So my thing is, if we can get these people to vote, then we can get some of these people out of here and get like some better people in. But I could be proven wrong. We could like all show up to vote and still learn that there are more people who actually like Republicans and who actually, support conservative policy. And that will be illuminating for me, and that will tell me a lot. My theory is that's not the case, because Republican policy is like it's like immoral and not fact-based, and I would like to think that most human beings understand that. But we'll see. Does the U.S. have electronic or paper voting? We have both. I mean, we use paper, but I think we have both depending on where you live. There are some where there are some places I think where you can literally just go on and there's like a computer and you can hit yes or no, or hit what you want. But I think most places still use paper. Do you watch ASMR? No. ASMR it's weird to me. It makes me uncomfortable. That's why I say, like, I mean, I think you should go vote, and I think you should vote for whatever you want, whoever you want. I hope you don't vote for Republicans, but if you truly, in your heart of hearts, think that Republicans deserve to win, then you should vote for them, because I want to see where this country's at. Because the problem is voter participation is so low among people who might be more inclined to vote Democrat. So if we can engage people, and I think part of that is because people think that their vote doesn't matter and they think that nothing is going to change. But I hope that, all like the many campaigns to get people to vote has helped people to understand that voting is actually important. I used to be one of those people that thought that voting was dumb. And in many cases, I still think that voting in the presidential election is kind of stupid because of the Electoral College, which is it's a sham. Like when you can become the president even though you got 3 million less votes than your opponent, that's fucking stupid. That's like completely ridiculous. But this is not a presidential election. This is a local election. This is voting for your representatives and voting on local referendums and stuff like that. And that's that's actually really important. Are you worried progressives will lose hope if the blue wave doesn't happen? Yeah, I'll probably lose hope if the blue wave doesn't happen. I think a big reason for conservative wins is complacency from liberals. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, for sure. But also because of voter suppression and gerrymandering. But so like I said, this is an uphill battle. But I think it's a battle that is winnable. Do you think we're born conservative or liberal if we use the traditional definitions? I guess the traditional American definitions. I don't think anyone is born anything. I think our views and beliefs are just a product of our experiences. And people change all the time. I used to be a lot more conservative when I was younger. Science shows people turn more conservative as they get older. I've heard people say that. I don't know. I'm not that old yet, but definitely the older I've gotten, the more left I've moved. 100%. So maybe I'm an exception. Abolish the Electoral College. I agree. Have you ever had to ban someone from the stream? Yeah, it's rare though, but I definitely have. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've had to do that though. That's one. I mean, that's one of the reasons. And to be fair, like my streams don't have that many people in them usually, so it's usually pretty manageable. And I don't have that many mods in the stream because there's not that many people. Usually if there's like one person trolling or something, then everybody in the stream will just tell them to shut the fuck up, and a lot of times they just get shamed and go away. But that happens very rarely. I'm not convinced by the people turn more conservative as they get older narrative. The problem with it is the definition of conservative shifts to the left a lot. Well, I mean, yeah, it depends on what you mean by conservative, because conservative as a political ideology means something different, I think, than just conservative the word. Because I'm more conservative in many ways for sure, you know, like I don't like to go out and party as much as I used to. That's more conservative. You know, I'm more responsible with my money. That's more conservative. But when you're talking about, you know, politically conservative positions, like, you know, like moral traditionalism or like religion or like being anti-abortion or like anti-welfare, things like that, I have gotten more and more left over time. And to me, like, it would make more sense for people to move more and more to the left, because usually the older you get, the more information you're exposed to and the more wise you are. And conservative positions are just not backed by information. They're only backed by emotions and ideology. And the more you learn about the world and the more experiences you have, I would imagine that you would get more and more to the left. But I don't know. I don't have any data on that. ASMR is supposed to cause a sharp tingling sensation down the back. I wonder how many people who watch listen actually have that. Well, I know that it happens because people have told me that it happens to them. But I've had similar things. Like I meditate, and I've gotten off track with it, but I started meditating again every day. And a lot of times I'd listen to guided meditations, which is sometimes pretty similar to ASMR. It's like someone speaking very softly and you have your headphones on. And sometimes it does like cause kind of a tingling sensation. Like 50 years ago, conservatives were opposed to basic civil rights. Yeah, I feel like they still are, but I don't know. Do I know anyone who has told me they're not interested in voting? I don't, not this election. I don't think so. I had a friend who, like in Alabama, we had a special election for senator when we voted for Doug Jones, which was a good thing. But I had a friend that was like, I'm not going to vote. And he basically got shamed into voting by all his friends. I think that political identity is developed mostly by social cues. I mean, that's definitely part of it. I just feel like once you understand the reality of the world, I don't understand how you can still be a conservative unless you're just being stubborn. I don't get it. Like I've said this before, but I oppose conservatism completely. I think it's a ridiculous worldview. This is not to say that I think being a leftist is perfect, is the perfect worldview, because I think a lot of people on the left say things that I don't agree with. And there are things that we can argue about that could boil down to just a difference in ideology and a difference in what you think will work. But there are some things that we know don't work that conservatives still support just because of their feelings and their ideology. And that's the problem with conservatism. Especially religious conservatism. A very good example is sex education. Most religious, like Christian right conservatives, support abstinence only education, and they don't support proper sex education. And they also oppose abortion and oppose access to abortion. And we know for a fact, we've done many studies, we know for a fact that abstinence only education doesn't work. It doesn't keep people from getting pregnant, doesn't keep people from having sex. In fact, it causes people to do it more. But they don't care that it doesn't work. And that's just, I can't wrap my head around that. Views you regret having? I don't know. I try not to think about things in terms of regret. I mean, it's just a lifetime of just personal evolution. But I mean, there are things that I used to think that I don't think anymore, and things that I used to not think that I think now. It's just how it is, I guess. Like I used to be skeptical of climate change. But again, the more information you get, the closer you get to what's actually right. And on climate change, if you pay any attention to the information that's out there, it makes no sense to oppose it or to be skeptical of it. As you get older and have more money, you tend to vote for conservative for self-preservation. But that's the thing. I don't feel that way at all. And I feel like none of my friends do either. To be fair, I don't have that much money. But I don't know, I'm even considering the fact that I don't have any money, I would be happy to pay more taxes if it resulted in, for example, better social safety nets for poor people or homeless people, things like that. And I have a friend who does make a decent amount of money, like close to 6 figures, and is possibly about to breach 6 figures. And he's told me that he's happy to pay taxes to just make society better. Like he's not more conservative. He's not more concerned with saving money or self-preservation. I don't know. It just seems very cynical to me. I don't know. I think boomers got more right wing as they got older because they got wealthier as they got older. Not likely to be the case for millennials. I don't know. I just feel like it's cynical to say because you have more money, you're gonna all of a sudden become more selfish. Like, I mean, give people more credit than that. There's a big difference between what it means to be a conservative versus being a Republican these days. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to even, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think the Republicans are basically fascists at this point, or like proto-fascists is probably more accurate. And I don't think that being a conservative means you're a fascist. But conservatives go all in their support for Republicans. And I still think that conservatism is a ridiculous worldview. Somebody with an attitude of black should be able to sit wherever on the bus, but don't go near my daughter. Wait, I lost it. Would be a relative liberal in the 1960s, but definitely conservative today. Right. Oh yeah, like 255 AD said. I'm also still pretty young, but being out of uni and finally making good money and paying plenty of tax makes me very smug about still being leftist. I'm self-employed too, and for those that don't know, self-employed people have to pay more taxes than the average person. But it's like I'm happy to pay. I don't mind paying taxes. Like that's part of how societies work is taxes. If the tax system is unfair, which I think it currently is, that's a problem. But in general, I don't care about paying taxes. I'll pay taxes. It's whatever. Especially in this country, everyone like the right is always talking about how taxes are bad and how they're never going to raise taxes, which, you know, would be fine for most people. But then they turn around and give massive tax cuts to rich people and give massive tax breaks and tax loopholes for corporations. It's like, well, what are you doing? Like, it's just like a front so they can help out rich people, basically. And then when you're trying to lower taxes from everyone, that first of all, it's like, okay, now your government has much less revenue than it should. But not only that, a lot of times they try to transfer money from the middle class and poor to the rich. That's what they tried to do with the healthcare bill that they suggested a while back. I think what I mean, I would love to see some of these studies, but if you're saying having money transforms someone who was once not selfish into a selfish person, that's what I have a hard time believing. If you're saying that a person who is already inclined to be selfish might become more selfish once they get more money, then I can believe that. But if you tell me that having money just magically makes someone into a shitty person, I don't know about that, but I'd love to see the studies. Do you endorse the idea that we should believe women, and if so, to what extent? I do endorse that idea. I made a video. I think I've talked about it in several videos, but I think probably where I talked about it in the most succinct way is my Neil deGrasse Tyson video. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like you might have to ask a follow-up question. But I don't know. Believe women. because it is important for us to believe women, because women need to be in a position where they feel that they can come forward with their stories without being disbelieved and without people basically being assholes to them, because that's the only way that we're going to, that's the only way that a lot of this stuff is going to get handled, is for us to create a space where women feel comfortable coming forward. And I mean, and mostly women, but anyone who is a victim of sexual assault or sexual harassment. So if we have a situation where the default is not believe women, then that's a problem, because then that means this isn't a space where women will feel comfortable coming forward. And that's bad. And it's the problem, and the idea, the if it was likely that women would be lying, then that would be one thing, but it's not. It's just not likely. And we have many studies that show that it is very, very rare for people to lie about sexual assault. So that's not really an argument. But I don't really believe that. I think it's a disingenuous argument. I don't think that's, I think people are just, it's just one of those things where people, they create scapegoats for their own bigotry. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of this believe women stuff, because it shouldn't be that hard. Just believe people, because you're being a dick if you don't. Like, just don't be a dick. Like how hard is that? It's the same thing with like any other of these issues. You know, it's like with gay marriage. It's like, just don't be a dick. Who gives a shit if two people get married that have nothing to do with you? You're being a dick. But they use the scapegoat. They use a scapegoat like, well, it's against it. It ruins the sanctity of marriage. The Bible said. It's like, you don't give a shit about that. For really, just being a dick. You're being a dick. Stop being a dick. Just don't be a dick. And it's the same thing with women. It's like in any other situation, if someone came to you and said that something bad was happening to them, you would believe them. But when it comes to women and sexual assault, people just want to be a dick, because, you know, that's just what people do. People are just shitty to women. It sucks, but that's just how it is. But again, they use this scapegoat. They create this scapegoat so they don't have to admit that they're being a bigot. So the scapegoat is, what if they're lying? What if they're trying to ruin this person's life? It's like, just don't be a dick, okay? Be a compassionate human being. That is what I think you should do. What do you think when people say Obama did nothing for black people? Well, I don't know if he did anything specifically for black people. I don't know if it's true that he did nothing for black people, but I think that black people expected more, expecting him to be more directly involved with black people and doing things to help black people. And I think that's a fair criticism to say that he really didn't. In fact, I think that Obama did more for gay people than he did for black people, which is good, but I don't think that that's what a lot of people expected. Yeah, you can't use links in the chat. You can email it to me or something, or tweet it at me. Suppose virus kills everyone who doesn't live in uncontacted tribes. Do you think the descendants of humans in those tribes would reinvent neoliberal capitalism when they reinvent technology? Probably. I mean, human beings will probably always find a way to get over on other people. And that would probably involve some kind of capitalism. Matthias Pagano, thank you for the 199. Thanks for your content. I appreciate that. When someone's telling me that someone stole their cell phone, I will believe them. Why should it be something different with victims of sexual assault? Exactly. I mean, in any other case, if someone comes to you saying, "Hey, I need your help. Someone is hurting me," you would believe them because that's what the non-asshole person would do. So believe them enough to open up investigations, or believe the accusations until proven otherwise? Or is your opinion more nuanced? You don't have to worry about investigations or proving anything. That's not your job. You're not a private eye. You're not a detective. This isn't Law and Order. You're not on the jury. You're not a judge. You're just a human being that is showing compassion to another human being. You do not have to worry about the investigation whatsoever. That's not your job. And I feel like that's a random thing that people bring up. Like, why do you give a shit about the investigation? That's just a human being that is saying something. Just don't be a dick. That's the beginning and end of it. If you're actually a judge or actually a lawyer or actually on the jury, then you can start thinking about things like innocent until proven guilty or fucking whatever the fuck people say. But as a human being, interacting with another human being who has come to you in a place of suffering or struggle, none of that matters. Yeah, you can use the email in the description. Yeah, I think I've talked about it in a few videos, but the Neil deGrasse Tyson video is the one where I think I explain it the best. But I mean, I'm basically saying the same thing that I said in the video. I probably said it more eloquently though because it was scripted. Why ask random people on the internet to believe you? Are you not guaranteed to find some douchebags? Why ask random people on the internet? I don't think that's what people are doing. It's just people when I mean, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, if you are sexually assaulted by someone, are you saying that they shouldn't report it? I don't know what you're asking. You're saying they shouldn't tell anyone? I guess you're guaranteed to find some douchebags, but part of the point of me talking about it and making videos about it is to try to encourage people not to be douchebags. And hopefully we can decrease the amount of douchebags. And I think we have decreased the amount of douchebags based on a lot of the emails that I get and a lot of the emails that my colleagues get and have shared with me. We get a lot of emails that are like, "Hey, you know what? I used to be kind of a douchebag, but I've slowed it down because of watching your content and listening to what you have to say." I'm saying you should probably turn to your friends whom are less likely to be douches. I'm almost certain that most people do. It is very unlikely that someone gets sexually assaulted and then don't tell anyone close to them and just immediately get on Twitter and say I was sexually assaulted. So I'm pretty sure that happens most of the time. The problem is a lot of these cases involve someone who is well known, someone who is a public figure. And a lot of times it needs to be known by the public that this public figure is doing this type of stuff to people. Because if it's not publicly known, then they can just continue to do it in private and no one will know and no one will do anything about it. I think a great example is Harvey Weinstein. And also, a lot of times it's not just people just getting on Twitter and saying, hey, this person did this. A lot of times it's the media reporting on it. In fact, I feel like most of the time it is. But if you look at someone like Harvey Weinstein, who has been doing this type of shit for years and years and years and nobody knew about it, these people definitely told their friends because, and that's like one of the things about it. A lot of these things in like among famous people, a lot of it is like an open secret, like everyone knows, but no one does anything about it. And you saw that with Harvey Weinstein. All these people knew, like people knew this was happening, but no one, you know, said anything or no one said anything publicly, but they definitely told people close to them. It wasn't until it became public that things began to escalate and something had to be done. So sometimes it is important for things to be public. Have you seen Peter Coffin's new video? It came out 49 minutes ago. I have not. I was streaming 49 minutes ago, so didn't have time to see it. Peter Coffin is very good at YouTube, though. I say this all the time, but I'm always impressed at just his work ethic. Like, I honestly don't understand how he does what he does. Does he have help? Does he do everything by himself? I don't know. But I mean, he literally releases like a 20-30 minute video like every week, or maybe like every 2 weeks or something. I can't do that. I don't know how the fuck he does that. Some people just work really hard though. I envy that. I envy the just that unflinching work ethic. I've always had a problem with that. Coffin drives me nuts. He's always wrong about little things, and it drives me nuts. I find it hard to keep track of what he's saying during a video. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's fine. I don't agree with him on everything. Like he's like way to the left of me on a lot of things. But that's fine. I don't think that he's like trying to intentionally misinform anyone or being malicious. So in that way, it's fine. And I think he says a lot of things that are very interesting and smart a lot of the time. But I agree. Sometimes I think that there are things that are hard to follow, but he explains his views a lot. If you like follow him on Twitter and stuff. And on Curious Cat, a lot of people ask him questions and he'll like elaborate on things, so that helps. I also think that he's one of those people that is. I think he's like. I don't know how to say what I want to say. Like he's obviously a pretty smart person. But I wonder if sometimes he like assumes that you know what he means a lot of the time, when maybe it should require a little more explanation. I don't know. But I'm a fan of Peter Coffin at the end of the day. Matthias, thank you for the $3.99. A growing number of intersectionalists are including non-human animal rights as important as well. What do you think about animal agriculture, factory farming? I hate when people ask me about this, because whenever I talk about this is when I start getting in trouble. But essentially, I don't really I don't ascribe the same level of value to animals that I do to humans. I don't think that we have a moral obligation towards animals, basically. Why do you think anti-vaxxers are a thing? I don't know. People love a good conspiracy theory. The problem is there are a lot of things in the world that we don't understand, and it is very uncomfortable to not understand things. So when people come forward with a conspiracy theory that purports to explain that thing that we don't understand, a certain segment of the population just eats it up. And that goes for just anything, you know. Chad, thank you for the $5. Hello, everyone. Hello to you. So, like, you know, autism is a thing we don't fully understand as a society or as a medical community. We don't know exactly why people get it or what causes it. But if one person comes forward and they're like, well, what about those vaccines? Maybe that's why. Maybe those shots they're putting in your kids. And if you're like a mother of a child with autism and you're looking for answers, you know, you might look for something like that, and you might be like, well, maybe that's the answer. No one else is giving me any answers. Ollie is great. I've been watching a lot of Philosophy Tube recently. It's really good. My problem with a lot of left YouTubers is that their focus seems to be more on aesthetics and less on the density of their content. The density of their content? I don't know what you mean by that. You mean like like whether their information is good? Because if that's what you mean, I don't agree with that at all, because I feel like the current wave of left YouTubers has like just really like almost overly detailed information in their videos, and like very, very well thought out and well researched arguments. And I don't think that most of them care that much about aesthetics. The only ones that I think you could apply that to would be ContraPoints and maybe Philosophy Tube. That's like it. All the other ones are just kind of talking over slides. H Bomber Guy does it sometimes, but not really. He just talks. He's mostly just voiceover. I've been watching a lot of Innuendo Studios recently too. That shit's super good. I think documentaries are dangerous for this reason because sometimes people believe just because it's a documentary that is true. Yeah, I don't like documentaries. I'm always very skeptical when I watch a documentary because it's one of those things where it's like I don't know if what they're saying is true. I have to check the source. So I feel that way about every documentary now. And I just don't like documentaries. Because it's so easy to make something that's not true seem like it's true. If you like say it with the right tone of voice and put the right images in the background. But yeah, I agree that being right isn't enough. But the idea that left tube doesn't have like robust content just seems false to me. But yeah, I mean that's I think that's the reason why people like ContraPoints and H Bomber Guy have been so successful, because they appeal to people who don't agree with them. Because they're funny and because their videos are really good and because their videos are well made. Is the fact that these factory farm animals can suffer, feel pain taken into consideration when you claim we don't necessarily have a moral obligation towards animals? Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I can't deny that they feel pain. The word suffer, this is kind of being semantic, I guess, but the word suffer I think is a little glib, because I feel like you need to have a level of awareness of what's going on for you to be able to suffer. But I mean, whatever. I know what you mean. And only some animals have sentience. I'm pretty sure it's true. So I don't think we can like broadly apply sentience to animals, unless the argument is that it's okay to harm animals that don't have sentience, but not ones that do. Which seems weird. I heard theories that the affection to alternative medicine has more to do with the feeling of control and power over their own body and less with education. Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. And I think that's part of what the healthcare industry uses to fucking extract money from people. I hate, like, one of the creepiest things. I imagine if you don't live in America, you don't have this, but one of the creepiest things are fucking drug commercials. I hate them. They're so creepy. Like, it's always like, are you struggling from whatever? Maybe you need this drug. Ask your doctor about our drug. Which is basically like, pressure your doctor into prescribing you this thing that you don't really need, and it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money. But I think part of that is the same thing where it's like, it makes you think that you're in control. Because I saw this commercial and I think that this drug might be right for me. Instead of the drug that your doctor, who fucking has been practicing for 10 years and went to school for 10 more years, not their opinion probably matters less than yours. I think the reason that they're called alternative medicines is because they don't work. What is an example of a justifiable war? I have no idea. I'm pretty much anti-war, so it seems like the only way that I would support war would be if you were defending yourself from an attack. Gambling ads are rampant in Australia at the moment. They're fucked. There was this one where a guy's at a family dinner and leaves pretending to have a work call, but it's so he can gamble on some app. Damn. Basically glorifying a gambling addiction. Jeez. I live in a state where they're like really hush hush about gambling, and like we don't have a lottery and there are no casinos. Well, there are casinos. The way it works is they allow casinos on Indian reservations in Alabama, but other than that, there are no casinos. So we don't really have like gambling commercials. We have like a racetrack, like a Greyhound racetrack, which is, I guess, is pretty depressing, but we have a Greyhound racetrack in Birmingham, Alabama, and that's like the only gambling that's like nearby to me. Was the North justified in fighting the U.S. Civil War? Well, yeah. I mean, the Confederacy started the war. They launched the first attack. I'm sure that Lincoln would have done everything that he could to avoid war. I don't know. I need to re-up my history on that, but I do know that the Confederacy started the war. Like they did the first attack. I don't know that if they didn't attack, would the North have never attacked? I don't know. Gotta say your camera lighting setup is killing it today. I appreciate that. Yeah, I switched to using my good camera on live streams. I had to buy some peripherals and plugs to make it work, but I used to use my webcam, but I wanted to use my good camera because it looks better. I'm basically just in the process of trying to make my stream look more professional. I might even like make an intro for it at some point, an intro and outro. And with this camera, you get the nice depth of field, so you get the blurry background, which always makes things look good. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, I was going to say, I think Lincoln coaxed the South into being the aggressor, because he was basically like almost trolling them. You know, like the Emancipation Proclamation was basically just trolling the South. I'm reading James McPherson's treatment on the war. War was unavoidable, and Lincoln maneuvered the South into firing the first shot, but the South would have attacked anyway. Yeah. I honestly, I should like read more into that actually. I'm not up on my history in that. I think I watched something about the Civil War not too long ago, maybe like a few months ago. But I don't know, questions about war are difficult. A lot of times, and this is something I try to stress, because people ask like really hard political questions sometimes, and they sort of I feel like people expect you to just have a quick answer, but no, you know, everything is nuanced and complicated, and a lot of times there's just no good answer. Like in general, if you ask me in general, I am anti-war. I don't want there to be war, and I don't want us to start wars or get into wars. But it's just in practice, it's more complicated than that. I do think that many of the wars that, for example, America has been involved in have been wars based on false pretenses or wars over things that I don't think are worth the human life toll. Oh, the proclamation was much later. Yeah, I think that's a thing that I should know. I should have my facts known about. I mean, it's not like I talk about the Civil War a lot in my day-to-day life, but it's something that I should know about. Like I know like the overall general basics, but I don't know the details of it. Guess it's a good thing that the North won the war, huh? I don't know if the South had any chance of winning the war. Maybe you can tell me about that, John. Like, could it have gone the other way, or did Lincoln pretty much have it in the bag from the beginning? You should also shoot in 2:1 aspect ratio. It makes things look extra professional. Really? The South definitely couldn't have won a war. The question was if the North would be willing to fight. The North was massively industrialized, had larger population, and population wasn't composed 50-50 of slaves. Yeah, yeah. That's what I figured, but I didn't know for sure. Down here in the South, they still call the Civil War the War of Northern Aggression. Which is kind of crazy to think about, that there are people that are still sympathetic to the Confederacy in the Civil War. Marquez from MKBHD is shooting in videos in 2:1 now. You should have a look. They look really nice. Interesting. I'm gonna have a look. Like all of his videos. I'm a huge fan of him though, by the way, but I haven't watched a video in a while. Also looks nicer on a lot of phones. Yeah, I actually need to start thinking more about how my stuff looks on phones. Yeah, they had a War of Northern Aggression on the Civil War shelf at the Charleston County Library when I was in high school. Jesus. I feel like I need a different lens for that. How does that even work? I didn't even know that YouTube like would play videos like this. That's weird. It looks weird. Let me see what a normal. Oh, that's crazy. All right. What are your follower projections lately? You're at 103K. I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna go to my social blade. Definitely still on an upward trend. Obviously, it has slowed down from like my what's the video? Straight Dude Logic. That video got a lot of views and got a lot of subscribers, and I sort of slowed down after that. But I'm still over the last month, I've averaged like about 100 subscribers a day. But lately, in the past couple of days, it seems like it's closer to around like 40, 50 a day, which is pretty good. So yeah, we're still moving up. We're not moving down. Now that I've hit 100,000, I'm just gonna chill and just, cause I was like really anxious about getting 100,000 subscribers. Like that was like my goal. I even wrote it down. Like my goal for 2017 was to hit 100,000, but I didn't quite do it. But I got it in 2018. And I wrote it down at the beginning of 2018. It was like, my goal is to get 100,000 subscribers. And we did it. And so now it's just kind of we're just going to ride it out and see where we go. Because, you know, the other milestones are cool, but that's like the first real big milestone. So we'll just see what happens. I think the way my subscribers work is I have like peaks and then I sort of level out. So I'll get like 5,000 subscribers in like a weekend or something, or like a week. And then over time it'll settle back down to around like 50 a day and 20 a day, 30, 100 a day. And then another time I'll just get a peak. Well, I'll get a few thousand more. So that's basically been the trajectory of my channel. Yeah, I saw that it was kind of, the frames were skipping. Is it still messed up? It looks like it fixed on mine. Are there still pro-slavery people in the South? I don't think I've ever met anyone that would admit that they're pro-slavery. There are definitely a lot of people who downplay the who downplay the impact of slavery and who downplay the fact that the Civil War was fought primarily over slavery. I doubt you find anyone that literally says that they're pro-slavery, though. There are people like a lot of white supremacists and white nationalists say that slavery was a good thing, but they probably won't admit that they are currently pro-slavery. Roy Moore, he wanted to take things back to when America was great, 1850s. Have I heard of white saviorism? I don't know exactly about that term specifically. Are you talking about like a savior complex that white people have? Because I know what that is. A lot of white people have sort of a savior complex where they want to fucking save non-white people. Check out Theo Von's podcast this past weekend. He's put a lot of effort into getting a nice look. Yeah, that's more what I would like to see, like podcasts and radio shows and other streams, because that's sort of the look that I'm going for. I feel like I might change the color scheme. I really like, if you can't tell by all of my branding, I really like orange and purple. But I feel like the colors might be a little jarring sometimes, or it would probably look better with a more neutral look. Any CGP Gray fan? I'm a huge fan of CGP Gray. Another problem is the fact that I have to shoot the live streams in my room here, and it's not really an interesting background. I think if I had a good set, that would help. That would help the look, but we'll work on that when we can. Probably what I'll end up doing is getting a laptop and just shooting in front of my normal set where my videos are normally shot. Oh my. European here. How do I vote? I don't know. But if you can, you should. But definitely this is this is directed towards Americans. But if I don't know when Europeans vote, but whenever you do, you should do it. It's a good thing to do. Electric Lomain, thank you for the 333. The color combination reminds me a little bit of the Grand Budapest Hotel. I don't know, I've never seen it. Electric Lomain, thank you again. You should listen to On the Media podcast, since I remember you were interested in media criticism programs. On the Media, like NPR? Yeah. Yeah, I haven't listened to it in a while, but I've definitely listened to it before. I love the hosts of On the Media. Bob Garfield and Brooke Gladstone. Oh, John Brockman, thanks for coming. I just saw that you said you were leaving. Have a good one. Yeah, I was supposed to change the font, but I never did. I feel like it doesn't look that bad, but it could definitely be more readable. Yeah, I think I need a different lens for my camera too. I wonder, like, do you think that I should keep the chat on the screen? I feel like having the chat on the screen is good because then people can watch in full screen and still see the chat. But if it's, you know, it may not even be necessary. This is just sort of like a carryover from Twitch streamings, the thing they do on Twitch. And it makes sense, and I think it's a cool addition to the stream. Are you worried the people in that caravan are going to get massacred by the army, or more likely, I guess it's militia guys when they reach the border? I mean, it's definitely something that could happen. I mean, I think I worry for the safety of those people in general, no matter what could happen to them. It just seems like a very precarious situation. Are you for or against open borders? That's another one of those things that I think is kind of too complicated to just say yes or no. Oh my God. What? My computer's making a bunch of noise. All right. I guess I'm not for open borders, but I feel like most people aren't for open borders, and I feel like a lot of people get accused of wanting open borders when no one really makes that argument. But I think that immigration should be encouraged and supported, and I think that a path to citizenship should be way easier than it is. I honestly don't know all of the details about the caravan thing either. Did the stream disconnect for a second? Did the stream mess up? I don't know. I didn't. It looked like something hiccuped for a second. My bad. See, this thing is always finicky. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why it does what it does. It just like randomly messes up. I think the thing with the caravan is they have not reached America. So we know that it's there. But who knows what's going to happen if they reach America? I think that's the thing that we're worried about. And I think that their goal is to reach the United States, but knowing this administration, they probably will not be let in. And that sucks. But we'll see. Because seeking asylum from your country is legal, and we, according to our international agreement, we have agreed to accept people seeking asylum. But the thing is, it's one of those things where people left. I think they left from Honduras. And as they've come along and as the word has spread, they've just been joined by a bunch of people. It's almost like fucking Forrest Gump. Remember when he was running around? He's like had like hundreds of people with him. And this is such a it's such a good thing for Republicans to use because the Republicans rely upon the racism of their constituents. So if you tell them, "Oh shit, thousands of brown people are marching toward this country," that really scares racists. Hello, Julia. And someone else just joined too. Intro Green, hello. We've got about 30 minutes left, so you're catching the tail end, but you did make it. All right, Joe, thanks for coming to the stream. I mean, they are supposed to allow them, but as we know, Republicans do not like to play by the rules, and if they don't want to, then they won't. I'll check out that Vox article. I actually saw a headline for it, but I didn't click on it. But I will check it out. Vox makes really good stuff. Also, I've been suggested, I think Vox has a podcast or something. Someone suggested to me, and apparently it's also really good. Oh, they have several podcasts. I think the one that was suggested is Today Explained, and apparently it's good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty scared for these people, not only about what's gonna happen once or if they reach the United States, but just along the way. You know, that goes to show like how terrible it is in some of these places that they're willing to take such a dangerous journey across half the continent just to seek asylum and just to seek a better life. That's just really wild to think about. They can detain them while, I mean, they can, I mean, like, who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them from denying people from applying? That's my question. The Republicans don't give a shit about the rules. I just don't get what outcome racists are actually afraid of the caravan plowing through unless Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell are there to personally hold them back. No, the problem is Republicans have convinced these people that all of them are criminals. They're all coming to rape and murder your kids, and failing that, they're going to take your jobs. They're coming to take your jobs and kill and rape all your families. That's what they're afraid of. It's obviously that's bullshit. It's complete nonsense. And it's racist. But that's what these people are afraid of. And that's what the Republicans and Donald Trump have convinced them of. And that's the thing. Republicans, that's why, like, the Republicans, the thing is, they can't, if they let all these people in, the racists that they basically maybe not created, but definitely have stoked the fire in, will be outraged. They will throw a huge fit. So the Republicans are in a position now where they basically have to be dicks about it. Granted, they probably were going to do that anyway. Trump is basically saying, sure, you can apply, but we're going to separate you from your kids while we process your request, and it might take a year or two. Well, that's just, to me, I mean, that's just like underestimating these people, because they're do it. That they would, most of them are probably happy to do that. Did everyone leave, or has it been pretty slow this stream? I don't know. I don't feel like it's been slow, but my streams have never been like super active. I mean, compared to some other people, like it says that there's 43 people watching, and to me that's like a pretty decent amount. That's like a above average amount for my streams. Like I have a lot of subscribers, but I got a lot of my subscribers early on, so I don't have the same amount of engagement as a lot of the other people with a similar number of subscribers as me. But obviously I appreciate everyone that's here. Like, that's 43 people. That's pretty dope. That's enough. Not saying they should be let in, but why is the caravan still moving towards the border? So they won't be let in, or thrown in internment camps? I think the thing is, these people, the situations that they're escaping are so bad that even just a sliver of chance that it could be better. Like, I'm not sure how knowledgeable these people are about the political situation in America. Like, I'm sure they know a little bit about it, but if you've been living in a shitty situation, barely any food, violence everywhere, and someone tells you, you know what, we can give you a chance at a better life. You just have to like sit in a camp for 2 years, and then after that it's gonna be okay. You'd probably take that deal, to be honest. And maybe that's where a lot of these people are coming from. You know, you have to think about their perspective. Even if they're separated from their families, even if they may not know they're going to be separated from their families, but even if they do know that, they imagine they could be thinking, well, at least my kids will be safe. At least they'll have food. At least they won't be threatened by local gangs, you know? So you have to think about different perspectives. Does the party that controls Congress actually affect whether they get in, though? I mean, to some extent, yeah. Because laws can get passed. You can definitely pass a law. Congress can definitely pass a law that is more lenient towards people that are seeking asylum. Of course, the president can veto the law, but it just makes it more likely. When you have a Congress that can actually oppose the president, yeah, I think that helps for sure. Because no one seems to be talking. I don't know. I guess there's lulls in the chat. I feel like people are talking though. Sometimes there's a lot of messages, and then it slows down for a few minutes, and then it comes back. But I feel like I've been talking pretty much nonstop the whole time, so that usually means that the chat is going. Why are people so worried about numbers? I think it's nice that there's not 1,000 people spamming chat with nonsense, so you can find and respond to us. Yeah, I mean it's definitely it's pretty cool. You can actually engage easier. Obviously, I want my channel to grow, and I want my stream to grow, and I want more people to come. But I feel you. Yeah, the Democrats are pretty bad in terms of opposing the Republicans. The fact that they don't have a majority is the biggest problem, because when they vote on things, that's basically the main way that they can get things done. But they could definitely be doing things better. I just watched. If you watch the latest video from Innuendo Studios, it talks about that. It's part of the series of the alt-right playbook, but it's called "When They Go High," when you go high, we go low, something like that. And it basically talks about how bad the Democrats are at dealing with Republicans. And then it gets into how the alt-right takes that strategy that the Republicans use to another level. Every once in a while, you'll see certain posts where women will say, "I hate men." As a man who seems fairly educated on women's plight, so they justified in saying this. Okay, well, first of all, when someone on Twitter says, "I hate men," probably they're not being serious. Probably that's a person who has male friends, who has brothers, who has male mentors, people that they like that are men. So they're probably not saying "I hate all men." So if you're taking it that way, you're kind of being ridiculous, and you're not being charitable to the thing that they're saying. Honestly, like, you have to be careful when someone is posting something on their personal social media, because we use social media. Are you saying, like, when you, like, probably everyone in here has probably posted something on their Facebook or their Twitter or their Tumblr just out of exasperation, just a hyperbole, just to vent. Like, have you not done that? Probably you've done that before. Because it's your social media, you know? It's almost like your personal diary. Just because people are watching doesn't mean it's not your personal place to vent. So you have to think about it that way a lot of the time. I think it's a little bit different if you're a public figure and have a large following. I think you have to be a little more careful about what you're saying. But even in that case, you just have to be charitable about what you think is happening. But the main thing is, it doesn't matter, because men are a privileged group. So you're not causing any systemic damage. You're not contributing towards any systemic damage when you say "I hate men" on social media, because men are going to be okay. It's different if you say "I hate women" or "I hate black people" or something like that, because when you say that, you're participating in what is a larger systemic problem that leads to the marginalization of these groups. It's not really like that for men. But many Dems are voting with Republicans. I don't know if many Dems are voting with Republicans. Some of them are, though, on certain things. But another thing that can happen if the Democrats take Congress is impeach the president, which is likely if he just never enforces the law. But I don't know if the Dem is going to have enough of a majority to successfully impeach the president, but we'll see. Really enjoyed your video on Sam Harris. It succinctly outlines issues I've been having with him. I appreciate that, Jordan. Philip DeFranco pointed out Obama did the same thing as the administration. We need to question why we just assume everything Trump does is bad, stupid. Well, yeah, Obama did a lot of bad, stupid things too. I feel like most honest people would acknowledge that. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things. I get this a lot. I mean, I'm not saying this is what you've done, but like a lot of times when I criticize Trump, I get messages where like, well, Obama did the same thing. It's like, okay, that's not, who gives a shit? I'm not talking about Obama right now. Why would you change the subject? Obama's not the president. This is my first time watching T1J. Can we ask any political question, or are we sticking to one specific topic? You can ask whatever you want, political or not. I hate men speaks mainly of the general male mentality. Mainly, if not all, women have been abused sexually or otherwise by a man at some point in their life. I just feel like we're all like adults here. We shouldn't have to say not all men. It's implied. We know not all men. So now that you know that, listen to what they're saying. Yeah, I think they need 2/3 to impeach, or they need a majority to impeach and 2/3 to actually remove him. And it's unlikely they get 2/3 for sure. How do you feel about Clinton flirting with the idea of running for president again? I can't deal with a repeat of 2016. Any progressive candidates that have a chance of winning? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to win, because I still think it's just outlandish that Trump won. So I don't know. I don't even know what's going on in America right now. I'm not a fan of Hillary Clinton, so I don't want her to run for president. But obviously I would take her over Donald Trump. But she already lost to Donald Trump. So I'm not sure what she expects to do that would make her win this time. Like I said, random and new made. My goal is to keep growing. I've got aspirations. It's getting dark in here now, and it's financially, I've definitely got a ways to go. I've got more to do in life. And I'm definitely going to need to improve financially. I pay my bills, and that's awesome. But there's not much more beyond that. So I got to keep growing. And it's going to suck for a lot of you guys if my chat ever does get to the point where there's just like hundreds of people and it's hard to keep up. And I understand that. I feel you. But at the end of the day, it's going to be good for me and it's going to be good for the channel. And hopefully it's going to be good for the content. It's going to make everything better. And hopefully that you guys will appreciate that when that happens. The shitty things Trump does and says far outweighs what Obama did. I agree. A lot of times when people, like, I didn't get too much into it, but a lot of times when people say Obama did it too, he didn't really do it. Or he did something that's like a much tamer version of the thing that Trump is doing. How do I feel about raisins? I love raisins. If Trump just refuses to enforce laws passed by a Democrat Congress, question is, will enough Republicans care about the precedent enough to say, yeah, okay, we can't go along with this? Well, given what we know about Republicans, probably not. Republicans clearly don't give a shit about precedents or rules. And they are very clearly happy to obstruct the Democrats in every way possible. And then we've already seen this, so. I think people get the feeling Obama is just let off the hook, for example, him being a war criminal like every other U.S. president. I agree with that. I think a lot of people look at Obama with rose-tinted glasses. But Obama's not the president anymore. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to focus on the things that he did. That's something worth talking about. But right now, we've got bigger things. We got bigger fish to fry. We've got a fucking maniac. And the thing about Obama, like, he did a lot of shitty things, but he also did a lot of good things. And as far as presidents go, he was one of the better ones in my lifetime. You know, that's not saying much, but it's true. So you have to look at things within their proper context. I'm actually planning to make a video about Obama and sort of a reflection on his presidency. But that might take a while because it's probably going to take a lot of research. Because when Obama was president, I was very, very critical of him. I was very critical. But he was the president, so it made sense. He's not the president anymore, so he's not my focus, and I don't think he should be your focus. I'm shocked that you're not more popular. I'm sure that's due to YouTube's algorithm, or if Americans are just too uneducated. I don't know. It's a combination of things. Some of it is my fault. Because in the past, I've focused too much on, I didn't focus enough on my content, and I got kind of lazy, and I think that caused me to lose a lot of my viewers. But I don't know. I'm happy right now. Things are going pretty well. Obviously, I hope that things continue to go more and more better, but I think that depends on me. As long as I keep making good content and keep engaging with the viewers in the correct way, I think that I'll be fine. But I mean, I don't know. If you like the stuff that I make, just share it with people, suggest it, like, subscribe, content, or comment. You know, donate, buy merch, Patreon. That's all you got to do. And, you know, the more individuals that do that, the better it goes. What's your stance on pineapple pizza? I would never order a pizza with pineapples on it, but if it was there, I would eat it. It's still pizza. What's your opinion on decriminalizing drugs? I 100% support decriminalizing drugs. My only thing with drugs, and again, this is another thing that's a little bit complicated. My general stance is if there is if the only harm that is done to the individual, then I don't think it should be a criminal act. However, some drugs are likely to either just completely fuck you up, fuck up your health, and or kill you. And in those cases, that then puts a strain on society, because then society has to use resources, hospitalizing you, sending the ambulance towards you, treating you, dealing with your corpse, burying you. And in those cases, that's where it becomes more than just harm done to yourself. So I would be okay with maintaining criminalization of certain drugs that are likely to result in you like severely harming yourself or killing yourself. So things like heroin, for example. But in general, I think I support decriminalizing drugs, because I don't think the point of laws is to protect people from themselves. How do you feel about non-monogamous relationships? It's interesting. People have been asking me about this a lot lately. I'm not exactly sure why. I never used to get this question. But I obviously I'm completely sex positive, and I don't really give a shit what other people do as long as their relationships are consensual. But personally, I think monogamy is kind of dumb. It doesn't make sense to me. But obviously there's a lot of people that are cool with monogamy and like monogamy and even prefer monogamy. But from just a rational standpoint, it doesn't make sense to me. But there's different types of non-monogamous relationships, some of which that I think that I've kind of been involved in non-monogamous relationships, but there's certain types of non-monogamous relationships that I think I would be comfortable with, and others that I wouldn't be comfortable with. Should over-the-counter heroin be a thing? No. Just because something is decriminalized doesn't mean that it is legal to be sold. You can't find a rationale for monogamy. The rationales for monogamy seem to be very emotion-based and not really rational. They just seem to be, well, it feels good to me, and I don't know, I just can't do it. And I don't know if anything that seems to be rational is actually rational. It just seems probably something that sounds right to you. Do you think Matthias, thank you for $4.99. Thanks again. I've mostly agreed with most of your answers except your opinion on animal welfare. Look forward to your future content. I appreciate it. Do you think raising kids communally has any advantages over the nuclear family setup we're used to? I mean, I honestly have no idea. I think that both can work. I don't know if I have enough information to tell you which one's better. Knowing your kid is yours biologically. I mean, that's not something that is exclusive to monogamous relationships. I personally know of non-monogamous people with non-monogamous people with children, and they know who their children's kids are. I mean, that would probably be a result of irresponsible non-monogamy, but the vast majority of people that I've ever talked to or known that are non-monogamous are very much concerned with being responsible and understanding and being and communicating and knowing what's going on. Because I mean, usually in alternative sexual lifestyles, that's very important. Like if you always use contraception with one person but not with the other person, then you probably know whose kid it is. Like that's not hard. Um, you seem to avoid my comments when I mention fascism. Is there a reason for that? I didn't see your comments. Uh, I I I mentioned earlier in the stream, I guess before you got here, that I think the Republican Party are basically fascist or proto-fascist at the very least. I think monogamy works for people who literally feel no need to be with more than one partner, but if someone's reason for monogamy is because they are too jealous, that's not rational, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. I don't think monogamy is bad. I just don't understand it from a rational standpoint. But yeah, I mean, if you don't feel that you want or need multiple partners, then that, yeah, makes sense. But that's a feeling. That's not like a logic thing. That's a feeling, which is fine. It just seems very unlikely that one person is able to provide every relationship, romantic, sexual need that a person has. Just it just seems like impossible. But I think that monogamous people, they they are willing to compromise that fact. They're willing to sacrifice the fact that, well, there are some things about this person that don't really fulfill me, but I'm okay with that. And I guess that's fine. And also the way that some people practice monogamy is very weird to me, but doesn't necessarily define monogamy, I guess. But the way a lot of people practice it is like especially when you're talking about jealousy and stuff like that, where it's people say things like you can't even look at another woman. Like if a pretty woman walks by and you like look at them and they're like, what are you doing? You can't do that. What? Why? I'm here with you. That's just like a random lady. But I mean, in my situation, I like if I were to get involved in a relationship with a monogamous person, I think that that would be fine if I like the person. But I don't know. It's just weird to me. But yeah, I don't. A lot of people have been asking me about that. I know people who have been in non-monogamous relationship for a long period of time. Yes, indeed. I know a couple of people. One of my best friends is in a non-monogamous marriage and has been for as long as I've known them, which has been at least 6 or 7 years or something. And I don't think it began when I first met them. And then I also know people who are new to the non-monogamy thing. And then there are people that I don't know personally, but I've talked to online that have done it for many years. I think I don't know the problem. I think what a lot of people do is people who are monogamous try to open up their relationships in an attempt to save their monogamous relationship, which that definitely never works. That's why I've asked several people about polyamory and whether, because some people think that polyamory is almost like a sexual orientation or like a romantic orientation, and not everybody agrees with that. But I've asked a lot of people, is polyamory something that you are or something that you do? And then you get mixed answers with that. Like, for some people, it seems clear that it's just something that they are, that being in a monogamous relationship just completely conflicts with their entire personality and worldview, and just that there's just no way that they would be able to survive in a monogamous relationship. And for other people, and probably myself included, it's just something that makes sense. It's just like a thing you can do that makes sense, that you know that you can deal with because you understand how it works. But I wouldn't say that it's like a huge part of my identity. In fact, I like never talk about it really. And I honestly don't have a lot of experience with it. I just, from a rational standpoint, it's something that makes sense to me. I have a little bit of experience. Like I basically dated a girl who was in a polyamorous relationship with another guy. But at the time, she was my only partner. I wasn't dating anyone else. And I definitely like hooked up with polyamorous people or people in open relationships. But I think ultimately, if I were to have a relationship that was open, I would prefer to have a primary partner, because a lot of people have a primary partner and then secondary partners, while some people basically have multiple primary partners. I don't know if I could do it that way. I don't know if that would work for me. Cause I'm a pretty like, I don't know how to describe it. I'm like a very like affectionate person, and I don't know, I like attention, I guess. Well, I'm in a couple with a polyamorous girlfriend, but I'm monogamous myself. Yeah, I guess what I think doesn't make sense to me is mutual monogamy. If you are just yourself monogamous, that's fine. I mean, that's perfectly makes sense to me. But if you are monogamous and you require the person that you be with to also be monogamous, and you have to be monogamous together, and there's all these rules about what you can and can't do and what you can and can't look at and who you can talk to and things like that, that's where things start getting weird to me. Did you think that you were cool with a polyamorous girl because it might have protected you from commitment? No, I don't think I have a problem with commitment. That's not really a thing that I've ever had to deal with. I'm pretty good with commitment to people, at least. Not being jealous is one thing, but you think you could be okay with sitting at home while you know your girlfriend is off having sex with someone else. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the difference between someone who is monogamous and someone who's non-monogamous. And that's why it's, you know, I don't know, like different people experience the world in different ways. But I mean, that's like literally the difference. Some people can deal with that and some people can't. But I mean, that does sound exactly like jealousy. So I'm not, you seems like you're making a distinction between jealousy and the thing and that, but that sounds exactly the same. And by the way, jealousy is not non-existent in non-monogamous relationships. I think that's another misconception that people have. I think jealousy is a natural human emotion. I think people enjoy being chosen and they dislike when other people are chosen over them. But the how you react to and deal with jealousy, I think, is the problem, or it's the crux of the issue. Like when I was in a relationship with someone who was in a dating another guy, I would sometimes get jealous when she chose to hang out with him instead of me. Like, that's natural, but I understand the situation and I didn't throw a fit and I didn't act like an asshole. I was just like, oh, that, you know, that's disappointing, but I'll be okay. But I think that I look at sex a lot different than many people as well, many traditional people. I don't necessarily see sex as like this like super sacred fucking thing that people do. So the thought of people having sex is not as big a deal to me, I guess, as it is to some people. If I was like in a relationship and we were open, but it was like a primary relationship and someone, you know, and they were like out hooking up and they came back one day and said, well, I'm sorry to say, but I found someone that I love more than you. That would probably be pretty hard to deal with. But I mean, that happens with monogamous relationships. So but that's, I don't know. I think as you go through life and you meet people that have different perspectives and different experiences, you start to understand that the way you look at life is just one way to look at life, and other people look at it way differently. And maybe sometimes over time you might have the way that you look at it evolve because of your experiences. And that's been the story of my life, really. And I live in Alabama, which is generally thought of as a pretty conservative place and a lot of traditional people. But even here, I've met so many different types of people. And even we're talking about like sexual romantic identities, I've met so many like non-heterosexual people, non-monogamous people. I've met asexual people. You know, like asexuality, that's an example. Like as weird as polyamory may sound to some of you, asexuality is something I don't understand at all whatsoever. I don't get it. I don't know what that feels like. I don't understand that at all. But I acknowledge that it's a thing because I've met many people that are asexual. And so who am I to tell them that that's not a thing, you know, or that, you know, and people do that all the time. People say fucking, oh, you're not really asexual. You just haven't met the right person yet. And shit like that. Like, who are you to say that? You don't know their experience. You haven't lived in their shoes. And that's basically one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my life is as you go through life, you just learn that the way you see the world is just one of an infinite number of ways to see the world. You definitely can certainly be polyamorous and asexual. You can be asexual and sexually active. Like the world is complicated and human beings are complicated. I've met people who literally are asexual but also have sex. Because asexual does not necessarily mean celibate. Most women I'm attracted to happen to be monogamous, so it's either trying to reason with them logically on being a little more open-minded, which can be hard to do. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little bit. I don't know if I could try to convince someone to be non-monogamous because that seems a little bit manipulative. But I'm the same way. Most women I'm attracted to have been monogamous. But the way I deal with that is by being okay with monogamous relationships, even if I would be okay with open relationships. But I don't know. Maybe that, like I said before, I know people that just 100% could not do monogamy. They would just be miserable. But I don't think I'm like that. Like if I met someone that I really liked, I could be monogamous and it would be fine. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get off the stream. Usually the streams are about 2 hours, but we went a little bit over this time because we had like a nice in-depth conversation about monogamy there for a few minutes. But I think I'm going to end the stream. I appreciate everyone for coming, as always. If you didn't know, I stream every Monday at 2 p.m. Central Time. So you can do the math to figure out what time that is in your time zone. If you would like to watch a replay of this stream or any of the past streams, you can look in the description below. There's a link to a playlist. None of the streams are public, but they're unlisted. And if you have the link, you can watch them. So just go to the link and you can watch any of the old streams if you like. This stream will be available maybe around 30 minutes to an hour after I after I turn it off. Follow me on Twitter if you have Twitter. That's the best way to keep up with me on a day-to-day basis. Mitchell, thank you for the $5 Australian, I guess that is. Which is $3.61. I forgot what I was going to say. If you want to support me, we talked about growing the channel. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Patreon is the main thing that keeps this channel afloat. So if you want to help me be more sustainable and help the channel grow, consider donating a couple bucks a month on Patreon. There should be a link in the description. There's a lot of other links in the description too if you want to check that out. But I guess that's it. Sorry to cut off the stream like abruptly like that. Usually I let it wind down, but we were kind of having a very very in-depth conversation. So that's cool. That's what I like. I appreciate that, Mitchell. Thank you for the support. But yeah, and also a new thing is if you are ever unsure when the next stream is, just go to the stream, which you can go to theonejanitor.com/live. I'll put a link in the description of all my videos, and there will be a timer that shows you when the next stream is, and you can click the little thing on there to set a reminder so that you'll be notified on YouTube, and if you have it set up for email or push notifications. So that's a new thing. So immediately after the stream is over, I'll schedule the next stream, and you'll start to see a timer. Go to theonejanitor.com/live. I guess that's it. So thank you guys again. I'll see you soon. I have a new video coming very soon. If you haven't seen my last video about the lottery, go watch that. I'm pretty proud of it. I think it came out good. And I guess that's it. And thank you for all the super chats and donations. I got a high amount of them today, so I appreciate that. That's awesome. But yeah, bye.